know you're just salivating over this because this was an outstanding trios match. And, you know, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And so we saw the sleazy Young Bucks with Brandon Cutler, which I was surprised he got cleared based on what, you know, his broken orbital bones.
Man, yeah.
Versus an awesome combination, you know, PAC, Penta, and Eddie.
I love this match. Going into it, this was the match I was juiced about the most going into Dynamite. You know, like the Bucks, I'm a tag team guy, and then you got the Death Triangle involved. You know I'm going to be geeking. Absolutely loved this. Thought that, like, when you look at the big picture of the way this story played out too, I mean, AEW really leaned into that history that Kingston and PAC had, and I thought that was really smart, right? Again,
I love that.
Rather than just throwing some guys together and having a match, you add layers and complexity to this story. You know, we're wondering what's going to happen throughout this match, and it started out right away with PAC. You know, when he went to make that tag, he tagged in Penta. He didn't tag in Kingston. There was a lot of tension there, and that tension played a role. It was slowly simmering throughout the match. I really was wondering how that's going to go, because, you know, even though on paper you're looking at like, all right, there's an obvious weak link. This is a 6-man match, absolutely loaded with talent. When you got the Young Bucks, our tag team champions going against the Death Triangle with PAC and Penta, and then Eddie Kingston, who's one of our favorites. You got that kind of talent in the ring. You obviously look, okay, Brandon Cutler, you're wondering, is he going to be the guy who's the weak link in this match? Well, when you add that layer, that wrinkle of like, can PAC and Kingston put their tensions aside and focus on the goal at hand, it starts to level that playing field. And I thought that really played a role in this match. What was awesome too was the ending, right? The ending, Kingston earned PAC's trust. Hopefully, I think that like he had his back. You know, he helped secure the win. And I felt like by leaning into that aesthetic, the larger picture of this war is starting to brew. And for me, when I look at the way this is starting to happen, you have the Good Brothers, Kenny, and the Bucks on one side, and then on the other side you have PAC and Penta, Moxley and Kingston, and Frankie Kazarian, the Elite Hunter, which was another
I loved when they said that, the announcers. I love that nickname, and it's, you know, tweeted out for us. I was like, the Elite Hunter coming in like a black hoodie and then just taking it down, man, with this nice scruff, new kind of look. Yeah, it was great, man.
Got a little extra edge to him. I'm digging that vibe, that aesthetic that Frankie's rocking right now. You can tell he's hungry, he's angry, and like it's all the more powerful. He's not cutting promos, he's not doing all this stuff.
Sure.
my man PAC there. You know, Frankie is got this like mystique about him right now. When is he gonna strike? And with what they did with the Bucks, what they did to SCU, it makes that much more sense. He's going to want a pound of flesh and, you know, of revenge. Really dig that. This is a feud that, like, you know, when we did our pre-show, we were talking about like the Elite is involved in so many things, and that's a beautiful thing. That's a great thing. But this is a feud where you're starting to see like there are clear leaders as far as they're going to be feuding with that are emerging, and these guys are that. And I really think that we're going to be in for a treat, seeing the difference of styles. I mean, you throw Kingston into the mix with PAC and Penta, it's just a very different. You got that true brawler, that true street fighter, with a guy like PAC who's, you know, an acrobatic, just absolute freak as far as that goes. And Penta kind of has that submission game. It's just an interesting vibe. I really dig that. What were your thoughts on the match itself? Because for me, for in-ring work, this one was just clicking on all cylinders.
It really was. And honestly, like, give the credit where credit is due. Like, I love Cutler's storytelling too, and just everything about him. And like, you know, I want to give props to him because obviously, like, you think of the landscape of who's in the ring, like,
the landscape.
Cutler is not on the level of some of the other guys, but he did an awesome job. I mean, I love his cool spray stuff, his funniness, his tracksuit, all that stuff for sure. But some of the stuff, I mean, and he took some beatings, man. He took a killer chop from Penta to start things off. I was like cringing. I'm like, oh my gosh. But, you know, and it's funny on commentary, Callis says this is burying Cutler so much. He's going to have to clean the dojo for 5 hours. He's going to have to give me 5,000 push-ups or whatever. Like, it's so funny, man. And
I'm glad that you
beat up
mentioned that, though. I'm really glad
both
you
people.
mentioned that. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the commentary, because that was like the commentary in AEW has been on point, but this really felt like this match was one that stood out to me. The commentary was absolutely on fire during this match. Don Callis' addition is such a nice, like during those matches with Kenny or the Elite, when Don Callis gets added to the crew, it's such a joy to watch.
I completely agree, man. He is absolute gold, just like when we hear Taz on commentary. So to add that, fourth dimension for a fourth one, you think 4 people on commentary, it's overcrowded, but it really isn't. They don't talk over each other. They got a great flow, great chemistry. But this match, man, not only Cutler was funny, but he took so many kicks and abuse from his own team.
I know.
And there's I love the Young Bucks' entrance, and then I don't know if you caught it, but they did like a Ray Phoenix kind of a fake impression where he, instead of like swinging through the ropes, he kind of just jumped around the ropes and super kicked maybe Eddie or something. But I did love obviously PAC's 450 into the Brutalizer is an absolute most brutal 1-2 punch probably out there right now. I mean, name a better one. I challenge you.
I'm not going to
try to name a better 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
Whether it be like a super kick or like a V trigger and the one-winged angel or something like that. I think the 450 into the Brutalizer is absolute worst, because you're getting instant pain and then right away getting jumped on into a submission.
Yes, exactly.
A torture rack on the ground.
Yeah,
but
nice. Yeah.
I thought it was Eddie told some great stories this whole match, just like you said, man. Kind of be selfless, where he finished them and he gave Pac the pin, the selfless sacrifice, what he did for Moxley, to prove himself, to prove his loyalty. And so Eddie did an outstanding job with his storytelling, did an outstanding job with trying to win over. I mean, he's over with the crowd so much, man. It's awesome to see his growth for sure. And, this is an interesting part, this new layer to it. I can't wait to see what's in store. Next week we got Matt Jackson and the Good Brothers versus, what is it, Frankie, Eddie, and Penta? Is that the combo, I think?
Yeah.
I got the next week card.
And to me, like when I look at the way this goes, man, we talk a lot about if we were fantasy booking, if we were TK, man, like how do you resist the urge of putting the Bucks against these guys, like against PAC and Penta? I mean, it's like, having chess pieces like that, where you can play off, you could throw PAC into any sort of feud, and it's just immediately going to be a banger of a match. And your tag champs are the same way, man. The Young Bucks, you think about the countless good matches. You said it from the get. Name a bad Young Bucks match. It doesn't happen. So when you have that kind of level of consistency of excellence in that to lead the division. There's so many opportunities for great stuff going forward. And again, like for me, before we go to the next one, with the way the Bucks are playing these, like the way their vibe is right now, right? Like with how cocky and over the top like attitude that they have is right now. You busted out the danglies last night for us. With their over the top showmanship. It's such a beautiful contrast when you put them up against a team that's so no nonsense. I mean, PAC, like that, like for me, like that dude is just an angry bastard, just dialed in, razor focused. But you look at like Eddie Kingston too. I mean, this is a dude whose story he's not about like fun and games and jokes, dude. Sure. This guy cut his teeth on the independents, wondered if he would ever even get to this spot. While the Young Bucks are laughing and joking around, this is a dude who, like, you think about the passionate speeches that he's given in the AEW locker room.
Sold his boots.
This is a dude who lives and breathes this business. So you have like this over-the-top, egocentric vibe for the Elite being paired against this like tough, everyman vibe, this angry, trying to prove themselves, huge chip on their shoulder type of mentality on the other side of the ring. It's just a really nice way to juxtapose those types of mentalities where, this is so natural to us. We're so good. We're God's gift to wrestling versus a team that really is about, always trying to prove themselves week after week after week. I really dig that like the way that story is being told. And it's one of the many layers of this story. That's what I love about it. It's not just, we're mad at you because you beat us up or you snuck attack, you give us a sneak attack. There's a lot of layers to this story that I really enjoy. And I think that the more they play into it, the more exciting it's going to get, man. Now adding Frankie Kazarian to the mix, we know that the long history with Mox and Kingston going against the Bucks, there's just a lot of heat here.
Is there ever?
All parties involved, and I love how Kingston's laying it out on the table, man. Like, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and that can be our common denominator. That could be the glue that holds this wild crew. I mean, dude, think about the way that crew is, like, the talent and the different personalities. If they can all jive together to focus in on beating the Elite. We talked about that going into Double or Nothing, Moxley and Kingston. You know, that's like a super group, you know, and if you start talking about super groups like the Marvel Avengers come unite, you bring in PAC, you bring in Penta, you bring in the Elite Hunter, all of a sudden you have like this amazing crew that when you put them on paper going against the Elite can stack up and certainly could push those guys to the limit. I'm really excited to see where this one goes.